Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. And welcome to Wednesday's edition of the dceu Daily, where we'll be talking about New Gods, Ava DuVernay, and Tom King exclusively right here. She's actually setting up a question and answer session on Twitter called Ask Ava. So I've seen a lot of questions. So that, of course, is interesting. And it'll be interesting in terms of New Gods, what kind of answer she'll give. Now, I think personally, it was a leap of faith from Warner Brothers to give her the New Gods gig. She really isn't an exceptional director or filmmaker. I mean, anything you've seen her do, a trained monkey could have done, to be honest with you, because when I look at A Wrinkle in Time, even the Netflix drama Have You Seen Us, I don't think that it's anything that anyone else couldn't do. And I think it's really funny. I think it is really funny how these people are put on pedestals. The only reason she probably got this gig is because she's a female woman of colour. And obviously, Hollywood want more women and women of colour and people of colour to be getting directorial gigs. But they've got to be good enough and they've got to believe in what they're doing. Do I believe that Ava DuVernay is that interested in a New Gods movie? No, it's a means to an end to her. Now, what's interesting to me is that when you look at her CV in terms of films, there isn't a good one. A Wrinkle in Time is obviously a fantasy movie Disney got her to do, but it's all about cultural commentary. Everything she does is about culture, and how I suppose people of colour have been mistreated, and it's all there all the time. And I find this very concerning. She blocked me over on Twitter because I was concerned about A Wrinkle in Time. It just didn't seem like a real movie. It seemed like a Saturday afternoon matinee that you just sit at home and watch and just say, oh, well, this is crap, but there's nothing else on. And that's what A Wrinkle in Time was. So, as I say, a leap of faith from Warner Brothers to give her, the New Gods gig, if you like. But then all of a sudden, like a month or so ago, Tom King announced that he'd be working with Ava to write this movie. Now, that wasn't the plan originally. In fact, nothing was particularly happening with this film. I don't know. I think what happened originally was she was going to write and direct New Gods. And I mean, who was making these decisions? I think this must have come at the very top of Warner Brothers. As I say, this was a move to say, hey, look who we've got. And as I say, she's a bang average creative. It's not like you've got a woman of colour. Look, we're not talking about Jordan Peele. We're not talking about the female version of Jordan Peele here, right? We're just talking about a very average woman with a very average ability. She hasn't really done anything where you could say, wow, yeah, she should definitely get New Gods. So I find this very interesting, how she's got this gig. And I think what happened was she was cut. The way she wanted to make the movie wasn't good, and she probably started to scare the shit out of Warner Brothers. And we know what happened with the Flash movie and how Ezra Miller and the comic book legend went off to write their own script. And I think what happened with this was Warner Brothers said, we don't want to publicly get rid of this woman. We've got to at least try. And I think she's kind of friends with Tom King. I think they've got a relationship. Tom King is an Eisner winner. So he's got a lot of respect. He's written Batman. Some fans don't like his Batman work. Some people love it. I think bringing in Tom King was a brilliant idea. I hope we get more, comic book writers being involved with the DCEU and the DC world of films. I think it's a brilliant idea. I've always said, why can't comic book writers write comic book movies? If anyone can, or even consult or be there and help, right? It's brilliant. The Wonder Woman movie, the screenplay was actually written by a comic book writer, and I forgot his name now, but who Jeff Johns brought in. And that really worked out for that movie, didn't it? So I think the more comic book writers who know what they're talking about, who have written good comics, I think there's absolutely nothing wrong to involve them. I just feel that Ava DuVernay is this going to work? Who knows? Who knows? But it's better with Tom King than without Tom King. So I absolutely support that. I think that was a great move by the studio because they don't publicly want to say it didn't work out with her, because obviously she has a lot of light shining on her. Obviously, the Netflix movie she did, Have They Seen Us, or whatever it's called, was very cultural. Was very cultural. It was about how people of colour have been treated in the past, of course, and this is what she's all about. And let me be clear here. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But is that the kind of thing we want within the DCEU, the DC world of films? We want to see great comic book movies, and this is the problem with her. So we'll see. And as I say, she blocked me on Twitter, which is a shame because she blocked me on Twitter before I knew she was doing New Gods. Because if I knew she was doing New Gods, I wouldn't have said anything to her. And I didn't say anything bad. I said what I said to you here, that I believe that A Wrinkle in Time isn't a particularly good movie, and it's just there to represent cultures, and that's it. And I don't think that was racist. I don't think it was a bad thing to say. It just wasn't a very good film. If you want to if you want to represent cultures and talk about how cultures have been mistreated, and you want representation in your movies, do it. But at least make the movies, great, and so we can enjoy them. This isn't a history lesson. This isn't look who we've employed. And it's this thing where they think they're actually doing, minorities, women, and people of colour favours by representing them. But representing people badly by putting them in crap films, is the most laziest thing you can do, because it's not. If you're a person of talent, right, you should be able to create something good where you represent people. And I don't think it's that difficult. The thing is, they don't care about that anymore. But I mean, to be honest with you, it hasn't been a problem so far within the DC world of films, the DCEU as well. So it'll be very, very interesting. So far, there's nothing I've seen from Ava DuVernay to tell me that she is going to make the most amazing New Gods movie. But she's obviously a capable director. I just don't think she's an exceptional director. And I think we all know why she was brought on board. So I'm hoping, because she's obviously going to look, they're obviously keeping her on the project. That's why, otherwise they wouldn't have had the desperate act to bring Tom King to try and calm the situation down and come up with something special. But she has to compromise. And I think actually in the end, if she doesn't compromise, they'll just bring some random director in to do this film. Probably someone else from New Line Cinema, which I'm absolutely fine with. You want to make a New Gods movie, make the best New Gods movie you can possibly make, right? That's all I'm interested in. So, as I say, she's a capable filmmaker. So, if she listens to Tom King, they could actually make something very interesting. Now, obviously, it's New Gods, so Darkseid's going to be in this movie, but the big question is, will Ray Porter be playing Darkseid like he did in the Snyder Cut of the Justice League movie? Again, very, very interesting. Will they use him, or will Warner Brothers be upset how vocal he's been about what part he played within the Snyder Cut of Justice League? Questions like this are going to be very interesting when they're answered. Do they care that Ray Porter's been speaking out about the Snyder Cut? Do they even care about the Snyder Cut? I tell you what, I'm going to be doing some information gathering in the next month or so I can do a special Snyder Cut video, and just to judge, is there any realistic possibility that we'll ever see this film? And we'll see what we get, and I don't want to make a negative video, but if the information is negative, that's the kind of video I will make. So what do you think? Are you excited about Ava DuVernay and Tom King giving us New Gods? Comment down below. Please like, share, and subscribe. And only the future will tell if Ava DuVernay will remain on this project, or in the end, they'll have to get rid of her.